Thank you for coming right back to stay with us while we talk about the arguments being made by those on the far right of the political spectrum. And we want to start out by saying that they are saying that the reason for the current crisis is a housing bubble. A housing bubble created by the Community Redevelopment Act. The Community Redevelopment Act, they claimed, came about under former President Clinton, was driven by the people from Acorn, other community groups who wanted to assist the poor in getting housing. Now, without reading the Community Redevelopment Act, there is nowhere in the Community Redevelopment Act where it says banks have to go out and loan money to people who can't afford to repay their mortgages. But let's take a step back and do a quick lesson before we get into the details of what this is about. In this lesson, we want to look at what was happening to cause the government to legislate through the Community Redevelopment Act. But to do that, we need to look at a couple of players in the mortgage system. We need to look at Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. What is their purpose? Now, to think about yourself as a banker. You have, let's say, $1 million to lend to people to buy houses. Okay? You lend 10 people $100,000 each to go out and buy houses. You have them give you deeds to these houses as collateral, and you have an interest rate, which means you're going to make some profit, and you loan them your money, and they're going to pay you back over 30 years. Now, it's going to take you 10 years to earn back your first $1 million that you put in so that you can lend another 10 people. But can we wait on each bank to earn back that money before they can lend to more people? No. The housing market would be very difficult to get into for most, if not almost everybody. Because everybody would have to wait until the bank made a profit or the bank made back its money before it could lend to others. So what the government did was they set up two institutions, Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. Their job was to create liquidity in the mortgage system. And by liquidity, what I mean was the banker loans you the money, you sign the paperwork with the banker then goes and sells the paperwork to Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. Now, let's say the banker would make $60,000 worth of interest in the first year. Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac would buy the paperwork from him, pay him $60,000 as his interest that he would make in the first year. So he would make a $60,000 profit in, say, a week or a month, and then he would turn right around, lend out that $1 million again, and keep doing the same thing, keep making profit, and everybody's happy, right? Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac would hold on to these mortgages. It would take you 30 years to pay back your mortgage. By the end of your mortgage, you would probably have paid back $300,000 for the $100 that you borrowed, but Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac could afford to wait. Okay? And because they had so many customers, the profits they were making each month off of all of these loans, they could afford to buy more loans and keep the system liquid. Now, we have taken care of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. But at the same time, we have a society that has to keep itself safe. And within that society, there were pockets of poverty. Pockets of poverty, which, like anywhere else in the world where people are poor, it's going to breed criminal activity. And this criminal activity did not stay within the bounds of these pockets. it was spreading, and it was like a cancer getting into all aspects and areas of society. And these people who were poor and they were involved in crime, they weren't getting any richer. They were still poor, and the cycle of poverty and crime and despicable behavior was just going on and on and on. And community groups came about to help these people, but they couldn't help by themselves. What they saw was a need for opportunity for these people. And one of the best opportunity you can give to people is that you can make them homeowners, to put it bluntly. When you're a homeowner, you can borrow against your equity to send your child to college. You can borrow against your equity to start a business. You can do all kinds of things that will lift you up out of poverty, instead of just going to a minimum wage paying job every day, getting Section 8 housing and all of that stuff. You can actually start lifting yourself up. So the Community Redevelopment Act said, hey, we're buying the loans from you anyway. And if we're buying the loans from you, we're going to ask that you relax the strictures under which you loan money some. You know, not everybody's going to have 20% to put down. Not everybody's going to have $10,000 or $15,000 in the bank. Not everybody is going to have a job where they can only spend 28% of their earnings on housing. So if you relax the strictures a little, they don't have to have perfect credit, things like that. Just relax it a little so that we can bring more people into home ownership. We can lift up more people that way. That's all the Community Redevelopment Act asks people to do. That's what was needed, not just to move these people into prosperity, but for the safety and the security of our country. Because there were downtowns that at 7 o'clock every business had to close. People couldn't walk the streets because the criminal activity had locked down pockets of the country. And in order to address the root cause of the problem, there came about the Community Redevelopment Act. Now, the fact that the bankers and the elite among us took advantage of us and drove this economy in the ground is what caused the problem. Come right back when we'll talk about the greed of the bankers that has driven this economy into the ground.